Hey kawan, welcome to EDCReady. Today, we are going to look at a lock comparison video. We have here the Ganzo G-Lock, and then we have here the Benchmade Axis Lock. So we're going to break this down to three parts. The first of which is going to get into the history of the locks. The second of it is we're going to talk about the similarities, and then the third part of it is going to talk about the difference, and then we're going to conclude between which one of these locks are better. First things first, what is the Benchmade Axis Lock? The Benchmade Axis Lock for about 25 years was a proprietary lock for Benchmade. Benchmade held the technology patent, and then they had the rights to the names. Fortunately for the knife industry and for us customers, the patent for the mechanism has expired like some 4 years ago or something, and then other companies can legally use the patent. They just cannot use the term Axis Lock. So we have here Ganzo's. They're one of the first companies to use the G-Lock, which is patently the same as the Axis Lock. And now you have Hogue Knives that uses it, you have James brand that uses it, and pretty much anyone can use these kind of sliding bar lock mechanisms. They just can't call it an Axis Lock. So that's kind of the background of it. Let's talk about the similarities. The first similarities is that this uses the exact same mechanism. If I can show it to you here, we have here a little bar, if you can see in there. That little bar slides back and forth, okay, and then that little bar interacts with the tang of the blade. See, as the blade slides up, it locks into the tang and then it stops it from bending down pretty much. And then to disengage, you gotta just pull it here. You pull it here, and then that clears the tang of the blade, and then the blade can swing freely from there. They use Omega spring, so on the inside here you can check out the disassembly video of this guy. I think I did a full disassembly video of this guy. By the way, the full disassembly videos for both these knives and their reviews and unboxing is up on my channel. Just check that out. This guy has no unboxing, but yeah, just check out the videos. You have here an Omega spring that goes around here and then goes back down, and then it kind of curves back up, and then it kind of slots into a little hole here. That creates the kind of spring, that creates the spring action that pushes this forward, and then for us to disengage it, we gotta put it back and close it. So the exact same mechanism, and because of that, we have very similar features as well. Both these knives are ambidextrous. Okay, both can be open and closed from the same from both sides. They are both extremely fidgety. They both have this feature to be very falsetty. You can flick it open. You can thumb flick it open. You can pull the Axis Lock back and open like that. In some cases, you can even do one of these. There we go. You can even swing it open. So they're very fidgety. There are a lot of ways to open it, and then the closing is very satisfying. You just pull it and then it closes shut, and it's the same for both these locks. And then the final similarity I could find between these two is that they're both difficult to fully disassemble. You know, to fully disassemble both these locking mechanisms is going to take a long time. It's going to be a bit of a headache, especially for me. I don't quite disassembling it fully. I do kind of the shortcut disassembly where you unscrew this, you pop out the pivot, and then you just slide the blade out. Do any kind of cleaning, go in there with like a cotton bud or a cotton swab or something, clean the inside, and then slowly stack everything together, put the blade in, and then screw everything back down. And one thing I forgot to mention is that they're both kind of like finicky to tune. The Benchmade not so much. The Benchmade actually has pretty good fit and finish, which means it's going to be very easy to tune. Right now, this has a beautiful action, completely falsetty, with very minimal blade play. In fact, it's one of those amounts of blade play that doesn't make a difference anymore. And in fact, if I tighten it a little bit, it's still going to maintain pretty good falsettiness and at the same time have no amount of blade play whatsoever. The Ganzo, after some time, definitely has a little bit more blade play, and the only way to get this to fall shut like this, like so, is to induce a little bit of blade play. So a little bit off when it comes to the fit and finish between the Ganzo Axis Lock to the Benchmade Axis Lock in favor of the Benchmades. Now let's talk about the differences. The first of which I already mentioned is the fit and finish. Now the fit and finish of the Ganzo is not bad. As a knife in general, it's a pretty good knife. It's very sturdy. You have full steel liners and all this. The action, very nice, very falsetty. Hold on, I'm doing this under camera. Very nice, it falls shuts. It does have a little bit more blade play. In fact, I'd say that it has twice the amount of blade play as this guy. Although this guy is very minimal, this guy is slightly more.
But at the same time, I've never found this to be a problem. I've used this in this is very much my beater knife, extremely inexpensive knife. This is very much my beater knife. I've pretty much beaten this guy quite a lot. Now I've also grinded down this part here to create like a pseudo finger trawl for my finger to land into. So keep that in mind. If you're the kind of person that likes really good fit and finish, there's going to be a difference between these two. Second thing is that for the Bugout, at least, I'm not sure about the entire range of Benchmade, but for the Bugout, the bar itself is made out of titanium, and what that tends to what the consequence of that is that you tend to get a little bit of lock stick. So this lock stick is when you flick it out hard enough, you're gonna hear a little bit of lock stick. Okay, they kind of disappear over time. This has almost no more lock stick. And unless I flick it out really hard, then you're gonna hear a little bit of lock stick. Yeah, there's no more lock stick here, but that lock stick can help a little bit. Sometimes the lock stick helps with blade play. It helps kind of lock the blade in to the locking mechanism a little bit better. It reduces the chances of blade play or from the sliding bar just sliding off the tank of the blade, causing it to shut down. It has never happened to me. It's extremely rare. However, all the Benchmates do have the issue. The new Benchmates, especially this guy, doesn't have that issue anymore. In fact, it's pretty darn nice once the lock has once the pivot and the lock has completely worn in, and it wears in really nicely. Now, the final difference I could find is that the Benchmade Axis Lock has lighter springs, so the pull is a lot softer. Yeah, the pull is a lot softer, and then it's a lot more calm to pull it down. As for this guy, the pull is a little bit harder. You really gotta create a lot of tension in your fingers and your hands sometimes, and you gotta pull it back. Mind you, it's not bad at all. This is just a nitpick just to compare the two. However, this guy definitely has a lot softer of a pull because it has a lot softer springs. Now, there is the question of durability of the springs. There are stories of the Omega springs in the Benchmade breaking or snapping. That has never happened to me before. A lot of reviews I've seen have never happened to them before. It has never happened to Nick Shabazz. I don't think it has ever happened to Slicey Dicey, but keep that in mind. That does happen, although I would say extremely rare. This guy, because the springs are harder, I don't see a situation where it would snap either. I don't really see a situation where that would be a problem in my life. However, if it changes, I'll let you guys know. And yeah, so that's the similarities and difference. So at the end of the day, which one of these is worth it? Now you got to consider the price difference. This is about a $20 USD knife. This guy here is about $144.50. You can get the cheaper blue one for like 127 USD or something like that. Whatever it is, there is a 6 times difference between this guy and then the standard Benchmade. So it really comes down to, you're not just paying for the Axis Lock, you're actually paying for a lot more stuff. You're paying for the better steels. This for a steel nut, which is it'll be much better than this guy. 440C, good in stainless. This is S30V, much higher edge retention and definitely stainless, especially with this coating. You are also paying for a slightly nicer construction. It's easier to take this guy apart. This guy here, the screws have kind of like the screws are a little bit soft. It's kind of a bit difficult to take these back screws apart. You gotta do it with care, but you can take it apart. Do check out my full disassembly video to find out more. And at the end of the day, you are really only gonna buy this guy if you have a higher appreciation for knives, if you're a bit of a knife snob, if steels are important to you, if fit and finish are important to you. However, if you're new to the hobby and you wanna get a taste of what an Axis Lock or a Benchmade feels like, or if you're the kind of person that is just looking for a good beater everyday knife with high fidget factor, this is going to be the knife for you. Size aside, you know, I do like the smaller size of this guy. It just fits a little bit better in my hand. This guy is just a little bit too big for me. It was fine when I got it. Ergonomics are pretty darn good, but now after carrying around smaller knives, after being in the hobby for a little while, I kind of prefer the smaller knives, around the 3 to 3.25 inches. Okay guys, that's the end of the video. I've been on a break lately. I kind of had to deal with some mental health issues on my end. But I'm happy to be back, and we'll be shooting more videos for you guys. Okay, thanks guys, and stay ready.